So this session is going to be about building high performing team. So in the last couple of sessions, what we have looked at is how do we build the basics of a SaaS business. It starts with identifying a high value problem, messaging the right value to the customer, and making sure that your pricing is aligned to that value. Are you positioned in the right category in the container in the customer's mind? What goes into marketing, the brand narrative, the demand gen plan that you need to have, and what are you going to do to make sure that your sales process is working, the catch, coach, close. Now, after you've covered basic insights about this, you need a team who can take these insights and then scale them, right? One of the most important skills for a founder is his ability to attract a high quality team. Not only do you have to attract a high quality team, but you also have to give them the guidance, the background, and the orientation so that they can perform really well. And for that, you will have to make sure that your team understands what you're doing, it understands the changes that you're doing, and it is always aligned with what you want to drive as outcome. So we'll talk about few frameworks that are used to do that alignment, to make sure that your team is becoming a scale for you as opposed to getting stuck in all the changes that are happening, because in an early stage startup there are going to be a lot of moving parts. So few of those frameworks, specifically OKR, which is very much in vogue right now, is something that we'll talk about. So four things we will talk about in this session is why you must have goals that you can align team. What are the different type of goal setting frameworks that are out there, and why OKR as a goal setting framework is powerful. And when you think about OKR for your team, for those who are uninitiated to OKR, how do you use a small shortcut to understand that concept and then start creating those framework for yourself within your team and for your organization. So let's first talk about importance of goal setting. Now, this is my favorite quote. This quote is from Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland. It says that if you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there. This is a statement out of the book. If you are wandering around, if you just kind of go with the flow, if you just say that whatever I did, like wherever it is going to push me, then if you don't have that where I want to reach, then any road will take you there. But if you know where you are going, then you will be able to decide, where you will be able to guide people that are coming along with you on what to do, right? So this is a favorite statement that I keep quoting often enough. Now, in a startup, you've heard me say this several times, that there are three types of gameplay that I have seen, three types of scenarios of risk. There could be one type of business, which is more the Flipkart type of a business, where you have built railroads in other countries. Amazons have been built in US. You're trying to build an Amazon of India. But there are many things that are known. There is no market risk. There is no technology risk. There is no product risk. All you're trying to figure out is how are you going to execute this here. So that's one type of business. The other type of business is like climbing a Mount Everest, where there are many things that are known. You can talk to people who have climbed the Mount Everest, but on the day that you are going, there could be unpredictable weather. And so this is another type of unknown that you're dealing with, the market risk that you're dealing with, that has to be mitigated when you're building a startup like this. And the third type is my favorite, which I keep often referring to as saying, it is the journey to the unknown. It is going where no man has gone before. And this is a Star Trek voyage. Now, in each of these cases, you're going to take a team along. You're going to talk to them and you're going to say, how are you aligned, right? But in all the cases, there is a journey that is involved. There is a promised land that is involved, right? And I have to tell people what that is. And that is what a goal is. Now, depending on the type of the business, right, your goal framing is going to change. How you are going to use a framework to do the goal framing is going to change. But as an Indian startup, more than a train ride or a Star Trek voyage, you are more doing the Mount Everest climb. And especially as a SaaS startup, you're doing a Mount Everest climb where there are a lot of market unknowns. It's not about technology unknowns, but there are certainly a lot of market unknowns. Now, in scenarios like this, what are the frameworks that you're going to use, right? And this is why Zig Ziglar keeps saying that you must have goals, because when you have goals, then you can create goal setting frameworks, use goal setting frameworks to be able to do that. So in a scenario like a train ride, right, what you will see is a goal setting framework called management by objective is used. And there are three key gentlemen that are associated with these frameworks. One of them you might have even heard. He's known as the management guru, or like he's like the grandfather of all management gurus, called Peter Drucker. And he was the one who popularized this whole idea of management by objectives. And he noticed that as society is shifting from industrial era to a knowledge management era, a knowledge based industry, you need management which will be driven by objectives as opposed to clocking in time morning till evening, right? So Peter Drucker was the person who introduced this whole idea of management by objective. Then there is this person called Andy Grove. He was the initial CEO of Intel. He adopted management by objective, but then he said that there are many improvisation that needs to be done, and he came up with this whole idea of called as OKR, or objective key result, as the full form of it goes. And he introduced it. And then one of his team members, reportees, who eventually became a very well-known venture capitalist, John Doerr, as part of Kleiner Perkins, right? So he popularized this whole idea of objective key result. It is he who introduced OKR to Google and many other firms, startups that he invested in, after which OKR became really, really popular. So, like I said, in case of a train journey, it is going to be a management by objective. If you are going on a Mount Everest climb, then OKR is a lot more suitable. And if you're going in places where it is a lot more unknown, then effectuation is the one that is going to be of utmost help for you. So, we talked about teams, right? Why are teams important? Teams are leverage. Teams give you the amplification. If one person can do one thing, then one plus one person can do maybe three things, and that is why teams are important. But often enough, what happens if the teams are not aligned, then they become like these proverbial ant which are pulling the sugar cube in different direction. There is a lot of effort that is placed, but there is zero displacement, right? So that is why, while team is great to have, it is most important for the team to be aligned, so that you don't make the mistake of doing no displacement despite motion being there. Now, what is a typical way to organize teams, right? The Indian way is that you start in the morning, you make a set of tasks, you give it to the employees, and then you check with them either in the afternoon or in the evening and ask them whether you have done that task or not, right? But you don't want to do that for you to scale. Like, what you want to do instead is you want to be able to inspire them and orient them towards an outcome, right? Otherwise, what will happen is that then managing the team itself will become a big task for you. You should not define the what and the how for them, right, and ask them to execute the how. You should define the why, so that they are able to think through what is it that they should do and how is it that they should do. And if you have people who require you to do the how, breakdown of the how, then probably they are not the best fit for an early stage startup, right? So this entire way of thinking, specifically for an Indian startup, the way we've been brought up, the way we've trained in our workplace, we've always delegated the method. But what we want to do is we want to delegate the outcome. And this is a huge mindset shift that you must bring upon yourself. If you're not able to change this mindset, then OKR is not going to work, right? Then you're not going to be able to set up teams which will scale really fast, run as fast as, let's say, how a Uber grew, or how a Google grew, or how a Facebook grew, or a Intuit grew. So this mindset shift is very important first. And when you're working as a team, the slowest member of the team is the limiting speed of the entire team, right? This is something that we have talked about when we talked about the goal versus bottleneck framing. Now, within the team, you want to make sure that the person who is going to be the slowest is the one who you are front loading, so that you can use that to drive it. Now, one other thing to keep in mind, And this is something that I have always I've always heard from many founders saying that, my employee is not taking ownership. But have you made it easy for him to take the ownership? Have you translated to him? Like, this is a statement that I heard from one of the advisors that I used to work with. He used to say that, founders cares about mission, vision, passion, but your employees don't care about that. What an employee cares for is he cares for having a better career, becoming a better front end engineer. If he's from sales, he cares for going from Hero Honda to i10, right? So when you as a founder talk about what is the vision that you want to have, how you want to become $1 million ARR, or how you want to become a value sales, how you want to be, like, as well known as Freshdesk or Zoho, you want to translate to your employee on saying that when you achieve that vision, what does the personal vision for him it becomes. If I were to say it in Hindi, uh, darshan do but unki drishti se. So you have to make it in their eyes. You can't just say, hey, here is the vision, everybody just should be aligned. So your job as a founder is to do this chief translation of saying that when you hit these milestones that you have set for the business, then what is the great vacation that your employee is going to have. Therefore it is important for you to be able to explain this from an employee eyes perspective. We already spoke about this, which is front load the weakest link in a team, so that that becomes the determining factor for your team progress to happen.